Hey everybody, welcome to the classroom. This is Professor Blackbuster, here to teach my very first lesson at this here university. Well, before I get into the lesson today, I want you all to take your seats, and I'm going to tell you how you can win one of these. You know, this is a 1-month free gold membership to Xbox Live. And you know how much the 360 fanboys love it when Microsoft puts one of these in their repair box when they have to ship their 360 in for repairs. They love it. They see it as the kindest gesture from Microsoft. But hopefully, Professor Blackbuster can get the same amount of love for giving away a 1-month free subscription to Xbox Live. Stay tuned to the end to figure out how you can get one of those. But today's lesson is going to be on the disc formats. There's a lot to these formats than you guys know. Like for Blu-ray, for instance, the 360 fanboys are always downplaying it. I'm going to shut every single thing that fanboys can say about Blu-ray. And I'm going to remind them of the disadvantages of their own disc format. And I'm going to tell you how the Xbox differs from the Wii when it comes to these disc formats. So everyone get out your paper and your pencils. Get ready to take notes. I want 360 fanboys all in the front row. But first, here's a crash course on these formats. PS3 uses Blu-ray. Blu-ray can hold 50 gigabytes of data. Xbox 360 uses regular DVDs. Can hold up to 8 gigabytes of data. But with Microsoft security code on each and every disc, that takes up 2 gigabytes of data on there. So developers are stuck with only 6 gigabytes per disc. And that's dual layered. And we all know the Wii uses the same format as the 360. But for what makes these formats that much different? Not only their disk capacity, but the PS3 reads slower than the DVDs. And the 360 fanboys, they like to harp on that we have to install a lot of our games to the hard drive. But what a lot of 360 fanboys like to ignore is that there's a lot of our games that don't require installs. A lot of the installs are optional. And a lot of us install it anyway to improve load speeds. For example, Folklore doesn't require an install. Time Crisis doesn't. Ninja Gaiden Sigma doesn't. Uncharted 1 and 2 don't. Ridge Racer 7 doesn't. Valkyria Chronicles doesn't. Cross Edge doesn't. And Killzone 2 doesn't. Those are just a few examples of the games I have on my very own shelf that don't require installs. They can go straight to the game and play. But on the 360 side, you have the ability to install games to your hard drive. Now, you guys say our installs are mandatory and slow, 5 to 10 minutes, merely a trial of patience. And it's not like we have to install it before each and every time we play the game, but you guys have the ability to install games to your hard drive. And you know the reason why you guys do that? It's because, number one, it makes your Xbox 360 quieter. You know that sound when you're burning a DVD in your computer? That's the sound the 360 makes. It's a very loud noise. Very alarming noise. So if you install your games to the hard drive, you don't get that. Second reason they do it is because it makes the 360 cooler. The 360 doesn't have to run as many parts when it's running off the hard drive. So it's cooler. The third reason, it prolongs the life of your 360 altogether and prolongs the life of your disk drive in your Xbox 360. But one of the main disadvantages to it is that some games, like Halo 3, when they run off a disk, they store data on the hard drive at the same time. And the 360 can do these both things at the same time, running data off the DVD, running data off the hard drive. But if you install Halo 3 to the hard drive, it's running off the hard drive, which is going to be installing stuff on the hard drive to do it. And that slows the load times on Halo 3. There's a few other games that are like that. But you say our installs are mandatory and ours take 2, 5, 10 minutes. 10 minutes for Metal Gear Solid 4. But your installs, I would say those would be mandatory. Who wouldn't install the games to their hard drive on the Xbox 360? Your system's quieter, cooler, and it'll last longer. And your installs take 10 to 20 minutes. So if any Xbox 360 fanboy says anything about installs, I think it'd be pretty hypocritical there. How do you say the word? I don't know. I'm not an English major here. But another thing, you now have games that are having installs now. Like Forza 3, for example. Forza 3 has 400 cars on it between 2 discs. But Microsoft says himself the second disc is merely extra content. So if that's extra content, are you paying for merely 120 cars that are on the first disc, which is the actual game? Or are you paying for both discs? They're making it seem like you're not paying for both. And if you want to play the whole game with all the cars, you have to install that second disc. The disadvantage of having more than one disc on the Xbox 360 is that you have more chances of your disc getting scratched and messed up here. I mean, look, Lost Odyssey has 4 discs. And we all know that Xbox 360 still, yes, people, it still scratches its own disc. Mine and Shokyo's did it to 2 games. Mine did this to NCAA Football 10, and Shokyo's did this to Gears of War 2. Microsoft claims they fixed this problem, but it hasn't been fixed. I know a lot of you fanboys are going to say they switched out the disk drives like last November or such, but this is still a problem. This is still happening. You'll see all kinds of reports on YouTube and everything about disk scratching. People suing Microsoft over the disk scratching. And no, this doesn't only happen when you're moving your console. Oh no, mine did it when neither one of us were near the console. It's a very loud chainsaw sounding noise as well. Very alarming noise indeed. So when you have more than one disc like this, you're literally quadrupling the chances of you not being able to play your game. Just imagine if one of these discs gets damaged. Just imagine. It makes the entire set useless. And not to mention that the Xbox 360 games are susceptible to scratches as well, unlike the PS3 games that have an anti-scratch layer on them. And for instance, the Wii, for some strange reason, the Wii games last a lot longer than the Xbox 360 games. My proof of this would be my store that I work at Blackbuster. We get tons of defective Xbox 360 games every week. But I've worked there for almost 3 years now, along with my job at the university. And what I can tell you is that I've only recall only about 2 defective Wii games in our store. Only 2. One was a rental, which was My Sims, but the lady, she brought it back that way. It didn't go out that way. We made her pay for it. $34.99. She tried to complain to Corbin, but that don't work with me, baby. And then the second one was Super Swing Golf. That one we sold as a used copy, and they brought it back, and it was damaged, so we gave them defective credit for something else. But to better understand the situation with your disc format 360 fanboys would be to look at products such as Scratch Out. Scratch Out is what's used to repair scratches on DVDs and CDs. If you look on here, it says repairs games, movies, music, and more. It also has on there DVD, compact disc, CD, PS2 games, Xbox 360, and Wii. But notice the 2 things that are missing on this tube: PS3 and Blu-ray. That's right, people. Anti-scratch layer. We don't get defective PS3 games. We don't get defective Blu-rays. Mostly Xbox 360 games. Nearly as much as our regular DVDs in the store, which is quite pathetic. For example, in my store, we're lucky if a 360 game gets between 1 to 5 uses. I'm not kidding you. The very first day that Two Human came out, we only got 1 copy. It came back damaged. That's 1 use. But on the PS3, we have games that have been out since its launch, and they still work fine. We still have Heavenly Sword, Formula 1 Racing, Ridge Racer 7, all those PS3 games that came out since they've been out. Layer, all of those. Still there, still working. A lot of them have over 60, 70 rents. Still working fine. I highly doubt an Xbox 360 game can get over 20 rents and still work. the Wii games in our store. We have 2 copies of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Both copies have over 60 rents. Been there since it came out. Both copies still work fine. And I know a lot of you 360 fanboys are going to say, well, you have so many defective 360 games because kids are renting them. No. If you say that, how do you explain the Wii games? Because the kids are renting the Wii games. It's mostly 5-year-old kids to 15-year-old kids over there tearing up the Wii section, renting Rayman Raving Rabbids, Mario Super Sluggers, and all those other games, Billy the Wizard, and all kinds of other games like that. They're renting those, but they're still there. Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic and the Secret Rings on the Wii has over 70 rents in our store. Still works fine. We're still making money on it. See, at Blockbuster, having more Xbox 360 games makes us lose money. We pay about $69.99 to $59.99, depending on what the developer, because they set the price range of how much we have to buy it for, because we're going to rent it, and sometimes they get money for it. But I can't really go into details about that. But when we buy those games for rental, we expect to make enough money off of the rents to at least pay for another game. But with the Xbox 360, that's never the case. Call of Duty, Halo, Gears, all those games damaged. We don't make any money off of them. We might get 5 copies for Call of Duty World at War, but at the end of maybe 3 weeks, we'll have 3 copies left. Only 3. We don't make enough revenue to get replacements, which is why we keep eating our own money getting replacements for Xbox 360 games. Now, I know a lot of you may not believe me about this, but here's a clip of my defective box at work. Just take a look. Now, you all see all those defective games. Xbox 360. You see all those rings on those discs? From the Xbox 360. And a lot of you are going to say, well, those people are moving their consoles. No, this happened when my console was clearly stationary. No one was touching it. Wireless controllers, we weren't anywhere near the console, and it did it. It's a thing called resonance, people. That's what happens to these consoles. And you know what happened when I called Microsoft? You know what they said? They said it was my fault. The same way they said it to everyone else. They said it's the consumer's fault, the user's fault. They said your Xbox 360 is not on a stable surface. It's ridiculous that we have to have a stable surface for our consoles. No other console in history has had to have such sensitive requirements. We have to have an open air room. We have to have a fan blowing on it. We have to have it on a stable surface. Xbox 360 is such a sensitive console. It's ridiculous. But you guys defend it. You guys keep saying Microsoft fixes this, Microsoft fixed that. No, they didn't. Admit it, realize it, open your eyes to the truth. And let me just tell you, these disc formats just give us PS3 owners such a better experience all around. Just all around. For example, a simple trip to Blockbuster is affected by these disc formats. I mean, we already know the Wii users, they can literally just go in, get whatever they want if the game is in. These games rent really well, so the only hindrance that the Wii owners and the PS3 owners have is that if the game is rented out. But the Xbox 360 guys, oh, my bad. That was my ramen. But the Xbox 360 guys, you know what they have to deal with? Not only do they have to deal with if the game is in, they have to deal with if it's in good condition. See, we get thousands of DVDs and games back every day. We don't have time to check them all. The only way we know if these are defective is when the actual renter lets us know. But a lot of the 360 guys, they don't realize it until they get home. And they bring it back. We look through all of our other copies. A lot of our other copies are messed up as well. They look at it, they say, nah, that's not going to work on my 360. They know how sensitive that Xbox 360 drive is. They know what kinds of scratches can't be read. PS3 guy comes in, finds a game he wants, rents it, goes home. No problems. It's that simple. But like GameStop, for instance, we all rent, well not rent, but we all sell our games back to GameStop. A lot of us do, and a lot of us buy used games. That's just what a lot of gamers do. But these formats affect that as well. Like for example, 360 guys go in the store. He's all happy and everything. He's got his game he wants to trade in, but oh my god, he's got scratches on his disc. He doesn't know if he's going to get credit for it because he doesn't play this game anymore. He doesn't want it on his shelf. He wants to trade this game in to get something else because he might enjoy that more than this. So he wants to get credit for it. So he walks nervously to the counter. He hands it over to the employee. The employee pops it open. He looks at it. I don't know, man. 2 of your discs are really scratched up. Yeah, there's a ring on this one. No, I'm sorry, man. We can't give you credit for that. And yeah, no, man. I know you wouldn't take it. I just wanted to see if you would. GameStop will occasionally will take scratch games, you know, because if they sell a game and the customer doesn't bring it back within like 10 or 30 days or something like that, they're stuck with it regardless. This happened to me before with some of my PS2 games. But they go back around the shelves. They couldn't get their credit for the game because it's too scratched up, too sensitive a format. So they go around the shelves like, oh, they want to buy this game they saw on the shelf. So he takes it off the shelf. He goes, oh my god, this is the only copy they have up there, and this is the only set they have, and it's scratched up. He's screwed. This game he really wants. So he takes it over to the counter. He hands it to the employee. The employee goes back behind the counter, looking through all the sleeves for it. He pulls it out. The customer, can I see that, please? I want to make sure I get a good copy before I go home because my 360 is really sensitive. So the customer looks at the disc. Let's see. Star Ocean 4. Disc 1 is really scratched up. That's not going to work at all. But disc 2 and 3 look fine. Do you have another set back there? You didn't have another box out there for it. Yeah, we have another set back here. Okay, good, man. Let me look at that. Okay, disc 1 on here looks really good. Let me just swap that for that. Okay. Hopefully that'll work. I mean, this disc doesn't look too good, but I think that might work. I'll probably try to install it first, because sometimes that works better than reading it off the disc. Yeah, man, if it doesn't work, just bring it back, and if we have another used copy by then, we can just swap it out, or we can get store credit for something else. So the guy gets his money, pays the game, goes home, hoping to God that his game works. See, with the 360, you can't buy with confidence. But a PS3 user, he walks into the store, he has the game he wants to trade in, he hands it to the employee, he gets his credit. He takes that credit, he goes around the shelves, picks something off the wall, Uncharted for example, goes over to the counter, hands it to the employee puts the game in the case, pays for his game, he's out of there. PS3. Buy used games with confidence. You don't have to worry about scratched discs. You don't have to worry about multiple discs. You don't have to worry about this. PS3, 1 disc, scratch-free, no problems. We all know it reads slower. Installing, not a problem. But the real problem here is the sensitivity of these actual games. The real problem is how well they last. Because a ruined disc leaves your game ruined, unplayable. Your Xbox 360 does that to your games, ruins them. Which is why Microsoft has a disc replacement system where you pay $20 and they'll send you a replacement game or something like that. PS3 has no such thing. You buy the game once, that's all you have to do. So, Xbox 360 fanboys, your disc format is outdated. Anything you say negatively about Blu-ray is small, picky things. Installs, no problem. Slower reading speed, no problem. We have games that don't require installs. But on the flip side, your installs take 10 to 20 minutes to prolong the life of your system. To make it run cooler, more silent. I would say that's a lot more mandatory if you care at all about your Xbox 360. And every single Xbox 360 user worries about when he will get that red ring of death, or that E70 error, or that disk tray jamming, or that open tray error, or that video failure, and oh, so much more. The failure list on the 360 is pretty big. I mean, I'll go through that on another lesson. The Wii users in the Wii console last longer than the Xbox 360 and its format. We get children rent the Wii games, they come back in good condition. Xbox 360 users rent the games, they come back in bad condition. And I know you guys are going to have complaints and you guys are going to have excuses for them. Like, well, people scratch their own games, then they rent your games, and they swap it. That still doesn't defeat the fact that you guys are ruining your own games and your console is still scratching your own games. Any way you can try to spin it, it's not going to work for you guys. You're going to incriminate yourself with everything you say. Well, I hope this lesson brought enlightenment upon the disc format arguments. In every single way, the PS3 is superior with its disc format. In every single way, the Xbox 360 fails with its multiple discs that get scratched up, with its mandatory installs coming for their games like Forza 3, but Microsoft calls it extra content to cover up the fact that they couldn't fit it all on one disc. By the way, arcade users can't install their games. They can only play the first disc. The second disc, the Forza 3, is useless to them since they can't install it because they don't have a hard drive. And don't say that they can go buy one. The fact is, they have to go buy one. That's all Professor has for today's lesson. Oh, if you want to learn how to win this, look for the topic on the forum. You have to register for the forum. After this video is posted, this card will be on the topic. But you're going to have to solve a few riddles to get it. First person that does it wins the card. So you all have a good day. The bell has rang. I'm going to go to my office and call the missus. But I want to see everyone here next week when I go over another intriguing subject. I'll see you all then. You all have a good day.